Welcome to another round of Otaku United AS. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at the Polymega console. With this look, we're going to be going through various different systems, or I'm going to be sampling various different systems for you to see. So those systems in no particular order are going to start with the PlayStation, NES, Famicom, SNES, Super Famicom, N64, Mega Drive, Mega CD, Genesis 32X, Saturn, the Japanese version of the Saturn, Neo Geo CD, TurboGrafx 16, TurboGrafx CD, PC Engine CD, Super Graphics, and then I have an extended list as well that we're going to go through maybe one game. Each of the consoles I own a varying amount of games. So, for example, the Neo Geo, I think I currently only own 3 games on there. However, the PC Engine, I own well over 70, and the same thing is I think with the Sega Saturn. So I'm going to try to sample about 2, possibly 3 games per system, just to kind of show off how the games play on this retro emulation console, which some people like to call it. What I will start off saying before I stop talking is just the quality of how well the games play. So on every single system, with the exception of the N64, all the games play flawlessly. Now, there may be some noticeable slowdown on the Sega Saturn here or there, but I don't know for sure if that same slowdown would happen on the Sega Saturn console. So my usual games of choice on the Sega Saturn are Darius, Alien Trilogy, Dracula X, all the Panzer Dragoon games. So those games I didn't notice anything different. However, some games like, let's say, for example, Mega Man X, when I played it, I don't want to say I noticed any slowdown in the traditional sense, but I did notice a little hiccup when I was playing it, and it was a very minor hiccup. So having said all that, the system plays these games just like you're playing on an original console. And with that, if you're a collector like myself who doesn't have a lot of space to spare, this thing is the perfect replacement for all of that. And just from a cost perspective, I realize that people, when they look at the cost of the core system around $500 and all the modules, maybe an additional $300 to $400, so we're talking about $900 for the price of entry. It sounds very steep. But then you start to look at what it plays, and you start to look at the cost of each and every one of those consoles. And I'm going to go through that cost with you guys just so you can better understand. I won't do the math on my end, but if you have basic arithmetic skills, you can start adding things up. If you purchase a PlayStation 1 with the ability to play all region of games, you're probably looking at around $50 to $100 today. An original NES system, you're probably looking at anywhere from $50 to $300 depending on the quality of that system. A Famicom is going to cost you at least $100, especially if you're going to get it in decent condition. An SNES depends, but you can get it anywhere from $20 up to $100. Super Famicom about the same price. An N64 with the extended RAM is going to cost you at least $100. The Mega Drive system, those things are fluctuating in price, and I know there's a huge difference between the Mega Drive 1 and the Mega Drive 2 prices, but we're going to say if you get a Mega Drive with the controller and all the basics that you need to connect it to a TV, you're probably looking at around $70 to $300. A Mega CD, whether it's a Mega CD 1 or 2, you're looking at anywhere from $200 to $1,000. For the 32X, depending on what region you live in, you're looking at anywhere from $50 to $200. Sega Saturn, a US Sega Saturn is going to set you back around $100 to $300 depending on the quality of that system and whether or not it comes with a box. A Japanese Sega Saturn will set you back about the same price. A Neo Geo CD, a top loader will set you back around $150 to $300. A front loader will set you back around $150 to $300. A Neo Geo CD-Z will set you back around $300 to $500 depending on the quality of that system. A TurboGrafx 16, that's the US model, is going to set you back at least $100. The TurboGrafx CD attachment is going to set you back again at least another $200. And if you get the Duo from the US model, you're probably looking at least $300 plus. A PC Engine with just the PC Engine itself will set you back anywhere from $50 to $100. If you have one in the box, you're probably looking at anywhere from $200 to $400. A PC Engine CD, the attachment, is expensive. Probably looking at around $300 to $600 depending on the quality of that attachment because of the age itself. A Super Graphics is going to set you back anywhere from $200 to $500, and keep in mind there are only about 5 games in the Super Graphics. If you buy a PC Engine Duo, that's the Japanese variant, it's going to cost you probably around $200 to $300. So if you add all that up, and that doesn't include any of the cables to play these games on a modern television set. So for example, if you still have a CRT TV laying around, you're set, you're gold, right? But if you don't, you connect those systems to a LCD or a OLED TV or a plasma if you still have one of those, it's not going to look as good as it would on a CRT. And you're going to need those cables to kind of help offset that look, to get it to look to where it was supposed to, or the intended look of the original CRT. Having said all that, the Polymega comes with a ton of features to really help with the way the games look. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them, but what I will say is that I've already preset all the games to where I want them, and there's varying types of CRT filters. I'm not an expert on the technical names for each of these filters, but what I will say is some of them are very convincing if you're playing them on a TV that's at 4K, or I'll say 1080p to 4K. I'm not sure if that's going to translate well to this video that I'm creating, but but with that said, playing on the Polymega is almost no different than playing on the original consoles, and I say almost no different because you're still using the Polymega controllers, and some of these controllers come in varying quality. The N64 controller is actually pretty nice. However, the N64 emulation, and I'm going to argue only the N64 emulation, is still a bit spotty. So what I mean by that is certain games on the N64 work really, really well. Certain games don't. And what Polymega, the system, is currently asking you to do to play certain games is to go into system settings, and then from there let me double check this because I want to say it correctly. Yeah, to go into the game console settings, and then from there on the N64 to enable the beta compatibility. What that'll enable you to do is pretty much play all N64 games. However, the 64 games that were not enabled with the N64 beta compatibility turned off, those games work flawlessly. Or the ones that were not enabled with it turned off have varying issues, either sound problems, skipping problems, slowdown, so on and so forth. And then there's games that work pretty much flawlessly. Those games would include Mario 64, Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Zelda Majora's Mask. One game that I had to turn the compatibility list to play was Star Fox. I didn't really notice any issues, but I only played through the first stage of that game. So I'd say that N64 beta compatibility, it hopefully gets better with time. Now, I did purchase an i5 processor that was compatible with this system. However, I'm going to refrain from installing it until I see what the improvements are in the next update, which I'm hoping does fix a lot of the issues. If not, I'll slap it inside and call it a day. Yeah, what else can I say other than this system it's definitely worth it. If you've got a huge library of retro games from the 6th generation and below, so we're talking Nintendo or Famicom all the way through PlayStation and Sega Saturn and 64, and your collection is huge, then this is a great way to play those games with ease. You can install the games right on the console. You don't ever have to worry about pulling the cartridge out of the box or the CD out of the CD case. So once they're installed, you can play them directly from the console, and that's that. Now, having said that, you can't install you can't just put games on there, so you have to have a physical copy of the game. Whether that game is bootleg or not, what I mean by that is whether you copied it, using a CDR burner or not, that's on you. What I'll say for all the games that I have on here, all of them are my originals, and that's one of the reasons why I don't have an extensive library of games for each and every one of them. I'd say, as I mentioned before, the most games I own are probably going to be on the PC Engine and Sega Saturn, whereas with the Neo Geo CD, I think I only currently own 3 physical games. And I want to talk briefly about the Neo Geo CD. This system alone makes it worth just for a Neo Geo CD collection. So if you've got a Neo Geo CD collection of I'd say 30 or 40 games or more. Get rid of the Neo Geo CD, this top loader, side loader, the CDZ. It's no longer relevant. This thing will load those games super fast. You don't ever have to worry about load times again with this thing. And when I popped in the Last Blade to this on this machine, I was baffled about how quickly it loaded, because the CDZ to get to from turning the console on to get to the fight takes at least 2 to 3 minutes. And I think I'm being generous when I say 2 to 3 minutes. I think it takes a little bit longer than that. With the Neo Geo, with the Polymega, I was in the game in under 10 seconds. And I'm not exaggerating that. I don't know if I was under 10 seconds in this particular video, but if you just keep pressing start, or the next button, you'll get to the fights pretty quickly. There are some games in here that don't work on the Sega Saturn and also on the PC Engine. I don't know all of them from the top of my head, but out of the roughly 200 or 180 games that I installed, there was about 4 games between those two consoles that did not work. I know 2 of them were Mad Stalkers for the PC Engine didn't work. However, the Mega Drive one works fine. And then it does load though, but there's a major glitch which it makes it impossible for you to play the game. And then one of the 3 Ranma games available on the PC Engine also doesn't work properly. It actually does load. You can play the game, but there's an issue with the graphics. So that brings me to the final point I want to make. I currently own a what's called a PC Engine Duo, or Analog Duo is what it's called. So I own an Analog Duo, which does play every single PC Engine game I own. I went through that and tested it. However, that thing is a royal pain in the butt to use. And what I mean by that is, if I want to save my progress in any of the games, I can't figure out how to do that. I can't figure out how to take screenshots, and maybe I'm just an idiot. But it's not a user-friendly console. I'm keeping it because it plays currently those 3 games that I mentioned, or those 4 games that I mentioned. It plays them, no problem. Whereas the Polymega currently does not. And I use the word currently because I'm assuming with time the compatibility will get better. But yeah, so if you're going to spend $200 on the Analog Duo just to play the PC Engine games, and that's all you plan to play, fine. But I'd say go the extra 300 and pick up the Polymega. That's worth it. Not only does it give you access to pretty much all the other consoles, but the compatibility list is in the 90%. I would argue the 95% out. So again, and I'm going to just give you the exact number of games I installed on the PC Engine between all the different versions of it. So the TurboGrafx, I have 3 games installed. The TurboGrafx CD, I have 7 games installed. The PC Engine, I have 13 cartridge games installed. The PC CD, I have 79 games installed. The SuperGrafx, I have all the SuperGrafx games. So that's 6 games altogether installed. And then in my, there's some additional games that for whatever reason weren't in my library. Those are also installed. That includes Moteke Tamago, Rockman, Space Fantasy Zone, Twin Bee, Gunhead, Force Gear, Tennis Ladies, what is this one called? Dino Force, and Daria, oh, not that one. That one doesn't count. That's a mistake. But all those games I just mentioned, only 4 did not work properly. One would load, the other loaded but didn't play properly, and the other one had a game-breaking bug. And I think there was a 4th game, but I think that was on the Sega Saturn. I just don't remember which game that was from the top of my head. And on the Sega Saturn, for the sake of argument, I own 1 US game, that's Scorcher, and I own a ton of Japanese games, I think around 78. So for those that are wondering why do I have such a heavy list of Japanese games, it's because I live in Japan and I have access to the retro games here. I do not have access to the retro games stateside, and even if I did, I don't know if I would collect US games simply because they're too expensive. However, when I do return home, I'm hoping that with technology and all that fun stuff, that it will no longer be a problem playing Japanese games on a TV, because I'm hoping at some point they can just translate themselves. With that said, my Japanese is fairly okay, but playing complex RPGs is kind of out of the question right now. So you're not going to see me playing Grandia in Japanese. But I might play the Story of Thor, because that one's pretty straightforward. Anyway, with all that said, and I know I said with all that said multiple times, I would say give this system a shot. It's definitely worth the price of entry, and you're doing yourself a disservice if you own every console I just mentioned and you're struggling to figure out how to play them on your modern television. This thing circumvents all of that. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. I know there's still some quality control issues that Polymega is working out, and my hope is that they'll work them out. But if Polymega is listening, I would love to see a Neo Geo AES module for this thing. That would make my day, because that means I can finally say goodbye to my aging Neo Geo AES, which is on life support. Yeah, and obviously things like the 3DO would be great. Anyway, with that said, please like and subscribe at the end. All of you have a nice day. Bye.
Game Creative Staff, Wolf Team.
You have hunted them for centuries.
Planet Lara. The Mercoids.
フォックス、コーネリアのペパー将軍からのメッセージです。
急いでくれ。スターフォックスの諸軍アンドルフが宣戦布告してきた。奴らはこの惑星コーネリアを支配し、ライラット系全てを我が物にしようとしている。我が軍だけではどうにもならん。急いでくれスターフォックス。
主力展開。
こらリッピー、無茶をするな。リッピー危ない。敵の後ろにいるぞ。
やべえ。サンキューフォックス、もうダメかと思ったよ。これよりコーネリアの席に入る。
こいつはひでえ。気を引き締めてかかれよ。敵が後ろにいるぞ。ブレーキでやり過ごせ。ボックス、俺が前に出る。後ろのやつを頼む。調子が変だ。思い通りに操れねえ。ブーストで追いかけろ。ボックス、助かったぜボックス。これは仮にしとくぜ。
ーリングで弾くんだ。
Ready? Fight! Ready? Fight! Ready? Fight!
There was a time, in the era of great chaos, when the Earth and the Moon were at war with each other. A daredevil from the moon piloted a bizarre aircraft. It was feared, and because of its shape, called Iron Hunter.
Leia Lufiza, Eutius Enakeroe Luciano.
何かあったんですか？
あんたこそ何やってんだこんな時間に。
帰るとこですけど。
ところでこの辺りで怪しいやつを見かけなかったか？東南アジア系の。
いいえ。
それじゃあもし見かけたらぜひご一報ください。
はい。どうかしたんですか？怪我してるの？車呼んでこようか。あっ。車呼んでこなくていいの？